All right, hello and welcome to the 9 p.m. game of Entities Arena. It's me, your host, Eridori, and our co-host here.
What's up, everybody? Psycho Mantis here to cast this wonderful game. We have two great teams. We want to talk about the teams we got today.
Yes, absolutely. We have Deathwish, who are playing Killer first, and our second team is Hookers. Hookers, a slightly newer team than Deathwish, however, still making a name for themselves out here in Entities Arena. Tell me, Psycho, what are you expecting to see on our maps Sanctum of Wrath and Blood Lodge tonight?
Well, two really interesting maps, that's for sure. Two maps that you see a little bit less in comp than you see a lot of the others, for sure. Blood Lodge, known very well as being a very open map. You see a lot of Huntress there. A lot of any killer really with range or anything that can hit over loops is really good for a lot of those big like dead zone areas in the middle. Are just really dangerous versus like killers like Trickster, Nemesis, Deathslinger, because there's a lot of things they could hit over in those middle loops areas.
Absolutely. I think if we see a Twins or a Trickster tonight, I'm gonna be ecstatic. I love watching Twins and Trickster games. I think that those are some of my favorite killers to watch in comp, especially because Trickster is like such a an oddball choice. Almost nobody ever brings him in most tournaments, but we've already seen one team decide to bring Trickster in the very first week of Entities Arena.
Finally, somebody who understands the beauty that is comp twins. Every caster I've ever casted with or talked to people I've played the game with are always like, oh, twins again. Finally, somebody else appreciates the beauty that is Victor and Charlotte.
I spent a lot of time on Twins when they first came out. In fact, it was so much time that I think I only played Twins in scrims for a solid 2 or 3 weeks. And then I practiced only Twins for one tournament that I didn't even really play Twins in. And I loved every second of it. I think more people are going to start, seeing how much fun Twins really is in comp, even if you might not enjoy it in public games. Competitive games is where Twins really shines.
That's the strength of a team's comms because the thing about twins, I feel almost you could argue that more than any other killer. I guess you could argue Nurse and Blight have the same concept to them, but just punish mistakes so easily. Like one of the worst survivor killers you can make mistakes versus is twins because one mistake of not resetting and deciding to do a gen when you should have reset could result in a 4K slug just like that.
Yeah, we've already seen in one team play Twins, and the survivors playing against them did not have enough time to reset, and the killer was getting a lot of pressure because of it. What do we think?
Yeah,
What do we think about the that game from earlier? I don't know if you saw, but it was so exciting.
fortunately, I missed that one, but I know very well, much like Nurse, you just, anytime you get a chance to reset, you need to reset. You never want to do anything injured unless literally you're going to be injured only, literally it's just an unhook, literally it's just 5 seconds on a gen, like resetting versus killers like those, you need to just reset. And from what it sounds like there was a lack of resetting.
Yeah, one of the biggest things you can do in comp is just reset and reset fast, because otherwise, especially with a killer like Twins, being able to split your pressure so effectively is such a big deal. With Victor's movement speed and Charlotte being able to be parked somewhere else across the map and push people off of gens, you never want to be working on gens when you're injured.
For sure. So what do you think we're gonna see on these maps? I know we talked about range. Is there anything else we could see?
I wouldn't be surprised if we see a mid-range killer, or if we even see Deathslinger. You know, maybe a killer like Pyramid Head, maybe Nemesis, but I think Deathslinger on Blood Lodge would be a lot of fun. Because of the openness of the map, it's very easy for him to get hits in the middle and get a hook in the dead center of the map. Start
really
calling it Dead Blood Lodge, because Dead Dog Saloon, no longer his map. No, this is now his map if he gets a hook in the dead center. That pun did not work out as well as I thought it would.
So which team will we have killing first in our first round?
We have Deathwish playing Killer first, and Hookers on Survivor on Sanctum of Wrath as the first map.
And that's the map with the giant staircase in the middle, correct?
Correct. It's a very good map for twins, I feel.
Unless the survivors are very good at abusing that staircase. That is the one spot where it can be a little bit dicey sometimes for twins. Also by those little, I don't know what they're called, the little statues. Like survivors can hug those kind of good sometimes too. If you gotta make sure you're snapped right.
Yes, those statues can be very difficult for Victor because of the size of them. When he's charging the ability, he can't pounce on them if they are running around just in a circle.
Yeah, the way Victor's hitbox works, it makes it great to down survivors pretty reliably, unless you miss pretty bad. But the caveat to that is his hitbox is so huge that when you're hugging an object like that, you very often will just lightly touch the corner of the tree trunk, and because you did, well, you didn't hit the survivor. Instead, you bounced right off of that.
Yeah, and not to mention all of the very difficult to tell if it is a solid object or if it is a, you know, an item in a thing that you can pass through, like the bamboo, specifically on Sanctum of Wrath and Family Residence, which trips me up every time when I'm playing both Killer or Survivor. It doesn't matter. I've gotten downed like 10 times, probably just to the bamboo. I've seen other people in every single game that I've ever played on those maps take it down because they run into the bamboo thinking they can run through it.
Bamboo killer confirmed.
So we are just starting to get ready here for, I believe it is the ping test.
Get everything set up and situated so we can get our first match rolling. Definitely be exciting to see how these teams roll out in their first game of the season, right? We're still in for week 1, right?
Yes, this is week 1 still. So it could be anything between them choosing their killers. But knowing that Deathwish has to play on Sanctum of Wrath 7 times in this season, it might be a really difficult choice for them on what they bring on Blood Lodge. Because they don't want to bring a killer that's good on both maps just for Blood Lodge.
Things for certain, I won't give away the killer, but knowing how I know how the hookers are, I fully expect them to come out with tonight, in their first killer game at least, the strongest thing they think they have. Whether it be a really good blighter nurse, or it be a niche B or A tier killer that they feel their killer means are like specialized in. Whatever they feel like is the best they have, I think they're gonna roll out with it and they're gonna want to get a W. Now, Deathwish, on the other hand, is a little bit more up in the air. I could see them trying to maybe save certain killers for certain teams down the line, and I could also see them with the same attitude of saying, hey, we want to start the season with a W, let's show up with the first game strong.
Yeah, I think whichever team comes out ahead on Sanctum of Wrath is probably going to have a really good shot at winning this, because Blood Lodge it's a mixed can of worms for both sides.
Yeah, it could be a really strong survivor map a lot of the time, just because of how visible the map can be. You often, obviously in a comp setting, you almost always know where the killer is anyway. But on a lot of the points on Blood Lodge, you could just flat out see where the killer is a lot of the time.
Yeah. Having all of that knowledge on the killer, and the killer having all that knowledge on the survivors is a really big deal when it comes down to what happens on Blood Lodge.
And you know what? Now that I think about it, that might be why the hookers chose it so early on in the draft. I know we were talking about that before the stream started, and we were a little surprised because Blood Lodge is not famously a very popular comp map. Maybe they feel that their survivors some of their survivors are newer to comp or they're newer to the league setting, and they want to give them maybe a more smoother transition, and this might help their survivors out a lot. You know, being able to, rather than have the issue of maybe there's a lapse in comms in a situation, you can just flat out see where the killer is, and that can help a lot, especially help somebody learn the game at a comp level.
Absolutely. However, the thing that makes me worried is because Blood Lodge tends to be a very good map for very few killers, specifically only really for ranged killers like Huntress and Deathslinger, that makes me worried. What is Hookers going to bring tonight that they can still use later in the season? Knowing that they have to play on Blood Lodge 7 times, in addition to some of these other maps, which I don't know if you're looking at them, I'm looking at them, but a lot of the killers that are good on Blood Lodge are good on at least one or more of these other maps as well. It could be rough.
Yeah, and you got to think a lot of teams, knowing that the hookers have Blood Lodge, are going to be saving a Deathslinger, a Huntress, or something, or Trickster, knowing they're going to have to go here. And you know, that also could be an advantage to the hookers. You know, they could practice particularly against those killers, knowing they're likely to see them a lot on this map, and get really good as a Survive with Friends versus Huntress or Trickster or all the killers that are very popular on Blood Lodge.
Exactly. I think if I was Hookers, I would mostly be practicing on Blood Lodge versus killers like Huntress, maybe even Hillbilly, because I don't know if you're familiar, but a lot of Hillbillies like to 1v1 on Blood Lodge because of the map, because of the cars, and the ability to do 180 degrees, even 360-degree curves on some of the cars.
I didn't really think about that, but I guess you would have the same logic with Blight, although there's maps that are just way better for Blight than this, I think.
Yeah, I think if I was them, I would want to save my Blight for a map like Suffocation Pit, which is notorious for being one of the better Blight maps, especially in the set of maps that are sitting in the roster. As well with Nurse. Nurse might perform really well on Blood Lodge, but maybe you want to save it for Coal Tower, because Coal Tower is, again, another very strong map for an S-tier killer. Maybe you bring your S-tier killers on those maps as a way of confirming a win.
Could be. We'll have to see. I'll say hello to everybody in chat while we wait for this game to get going. We got Gamer Sharma chilling out here. Kidder, what's up? Exotic. FNK Overwatch, I believe. That's what that stands for. Love to see y'all heading out tonight.
Still doing the ping test here. Everything looks good on everybody else's end.
Good. Glad to see everything's going smoothly so far. Now, we have the announcement coming that we will be getting, is it Ringu, I believe?
Yes, Ringu.
Ringu? What do you think about that? What do you think the Ringu is going to bring to the table?
I think Ringu is going to be a very similar killer to Demogorgon. Because of her ability, lore-wise, to travel, I think it's going to be very likely she has something that is similar to the Demogorgon, but maybe has more of a Mario kind of feel to it, if you get what I'm saying.
Mario?
Getting to use those little pipes to jump down into and teleport to another side of the map.
I heard
just
TVs,
like Mario.
Another way to do it too.
TVs probably will look a little bit less silly.
Gonna come out of the TV. I'm hoping for real. I know it's not gonna happen, but a reskin for the Survivor, or just to make the Survivor be Brenda from Scary Movie. I would pay all the required cash to play as Brenda from Scary Movie inside Dead by Daylight.
Yes, Brenda in the Ring spoof part of Scary Movie is kind of hilarious. I think that GIF I have seen more times now than I think I've ever seen of that movie.
Chat, if you haven't seen it, there's a classic Scary Movie clip where it's a mock of the Ring, and I forget the name of the character, but they crawl out of the TV, and the character from Scary Movie fights her, and it's like a hilarious slapstick fight. And there's a meme video out there on the internet, you gotta find it, and it's literally Claudette's face superimposed as the character. It's just hilarious. It's like getting slapped with like D-Strike. You know, it's hilarious.
Hitting her with a pallet, yeah. It's really good. Some of the memes that this community comes up with are some of my favorite.
You got a lot of classics, you know, Skill Issue, the Pocos, tons of fun things.
But
I'm surprised there's no Skill Issue team yet. I'm really shocked no one's done that.
Well, maybe there should be. Maybe there should be a Skill Issue team.
You hear that, chat? Is your opportunity Skill Issue, chat? Maybe you find some teammates in DBD Scrim server. You can make yourself a team called No Bots. You know, whatever you want.
There are a lot of options still out there that are all hilarious. I'm kind of surprised haven't been taken. Toxicity, I think, is one of the ones that I'm shocked no team has picked up yet.
Yeah, you need to think about it. I never heard of somebody named Toxicity. That's not even like toxic anything.
I think toxic and then something else is a great idea for a DBD team because of the meme of Dead by Daylight having a very toxic community.
As someone who's been part of any community, I disagree with that. Every community, to a degree, has their good parts and bad parts to it. And as somebody who's been part of many of them, Dead by Daylight doesn't even fall close to the worst I've ever been a part of.
Exactly. Which is why I think it's not a good look for Dead by Daylight, but, you know, it's a meme, so you might as well take advantage of that and get a funny name in there because of it.
Makes sense.
So, we're going to Sanctum of Wrath. Deathwish is killing first. Hookers is on Survivor. We've already said we think it's going to be twins from at least one of the teams.
I wouldn't be shocked to see twins. They're strong.
I think Trickster is likely. Wraith even.
You can see Nemesis too, just to help move the zombies on this map.
Well, let's see what we get, and that looks a little bit like the cannibal Bubba himself.
Let's get the boobas in chat. Let's see if we can get some good gameplay here. Bubba being one of the hardest survivors to save from rescue. Let's see what they can manage to do here.
This could be really good if they secure a down in their 3-gen. But it does look like either our survivors are stealthing out Corrupt, or they spawned on the other side of the map. This could be a rough start for the game for Deathwish.
Well, as somebody who has scrimmed the hookers on many occasions, I know the answer to that question, and you guys will figure it out eventually.
We don't hear any progress on any of these gens. We don't see any scratch marks. We don't see anything. It's almost been an entire minute already, as we can see the Corrupt intervention in the distance being almost a timer for us, ticking down as to when we will find our first survivor.
Yep. These survivors doing a real good job of hiding out. I wouldn't be surprised to see them maybe looking around in this Corrupt area for totems while the killer's on the other side of the map. Trying to just find anything useful to do during their time.
What is that? Is that a dropped pallet?
I heard it. I don't think Leatherface knew that that survivor was there too either.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I didn't even know.
It looked like the Cheryl jumped over the pallet and used Lithe to get away, preventing the chase from even starting.
be surprised to see some survivors on Gen now that one of them was found.
It doesn't sound like any of them are being worked, but maybe this was all part of Hooker's plan.
Could be.
Maybe they were trying to bait the chase with the Cheryl so that everybody else can converge to the other side of the map.
Well,
now that Corrupt is over, it could be anything. Here's 2 different sets of scratch marks. That's a bamboozle on the window that the survivors are now seeing.
That's 2 perks revealed so far for this killer. Oh, and we see Survivor here. It catches up.
This will probably be a down. That is a rough first down.
A shame,
Luckily
all that
for...
time wasted, and then still they got down instantly right after Corrupt. That's really unfortunate.
It sounds like the middle gen here is being worked on. It has about 50% progress, which probably means 2 survivors. Oh, 75% progress. About 2 survivors were probably working on that, maybe 3.
Correct. We also saw that Gen wasn't regressing, so we know Ruin's not in play. It didn't sound like Pop was either.
Yeah, didn't look like a pop from me. Here's the Cheryl again, trying to take chase. Was that a flashlight click in the distance? Or was that just a weird... Oh, well, there's more scratch marks.
Survivors need to be careful. This Leatherface can rain death from above and drop right down with the chainsaw if they try to be sneaky.
Yeah, this could be a really difficult unhook for the hookers.
It's really smart play here by the Bubba here, because he can actually control the map and look around while camping the hook very well from that high ground.
This is going to be a force into the second state on the Michaela.
Yep, the question is, are these survivors realizing that this was going to be a second state, and have they been working on gens this entire... Oh, I do believe we saw a corrupted gen up, but I didn't see that before.
Yes.
Might be a deadlock?
That would be a deadlock, as we've already noted that Corrupt is over, and the other gen had been finished about 30 seconds before, so that would be deadlock getting revealed to the survivors. And they get the unhook on the Michaela as chase begins with the Cheryl. Bubba almost getting stunned. That's a blocked window.
Yeah, the survivors have to be careful. With that pallet gone, I don't know if there's anything they can make. Oh, they got
that
oh my
so
god!
Close. Almost focusing through it. I guarantee you, he got pallet validated.
Unfortunate.
And I don't know if you noticed, but when he was in chase with the Cheryl, there were 2 survivors running to the other side of the map.
Yes, you see what these survivors are planning.
Here's Claudette. Chasing in the spot that does not have a 3-gen anymore. They finish another gen. Was that the middle gen? That was not the middle gen. That was another gen on this side of the map.
Gen's not even the one that's deadlocked. So they can finish middle gen during this chase if they want to.
If Dark doesn't decide to go back to the middle gen, this could be really good for hookers.
Claudette leading on a good chase. They've only burned, I think, 1 pallet so far, too. Oh, that should be a down with the locker play. Let's see it.
Do they know the tantrum time? They do not get out in time, but they do finish the gen on the opposite side of the map.
So there's only 2 gens left, however, though, and it's only been 3 hooks, which, for this level of gameplay, I think is a little bit under what you want to get. But this Bubba could easily turn this into a 2K, which is probably right around your goal for a Leatherface game.
And now we see the Leatherface starting to get into chase with... This is the Ace, I believe. Ace getting access to the fastball in the 4 lane. That is the live on the Ace. Dropping chase with Ace almost immediately. to
get
defend this hook.
progression. I don't know if they're gonna make it in time. They might need to rev their chainsaw now and try to get.
There's the Michaela getting that unhook. Not,
like that was the
deciding
case
not
where
to
he-
tunnel. I think that's an interesting decision.
Interesting. It is interesting decision. I feel like that was the case where you needed to use your chainsaw actually for mobility to try to get back faster, rather than trying to save it when you get to the hook.
I think our Bubba might not be as familiar with the speed as we may have originally thought.
Using Leatherface chainsaw for mobility, even amongst a lot of Bubba mains, isn't even like a constantly used, like an underrated thing, in my opinion. People don't do enough.
Michaela getting hooked onto the death hook as we are now down to 1 gen left. And that generator is almost finished. The generator and Shack popping. Incredible. We don't see a haste status effect, but we do see No Way Out get dropped. That is absolute Pocos.
Must be one of them extra large chainsaws there. You got it from Home Depot.
It does look like we are going to find the ace in addition to it. This is a fresh hook onto the Cheryl.
How about chasing this? I think he just camped.
I think both of his gates are on the other side of the map. He should probably sit by the door.
Yeah, there's no reason to chase this ace across the map away from both the gates and your hook. And now look, now they
There
got
were
a
the
save.
scratch
One of
marks.
these gates is probably 99 as well.
I don't think so, because No Way Out had just finished up a little while
I
ago.
didn't No Way Out popped out. I didn't hear that. Good to know.
There's a down onto the Claudette.
If you see somebody on this gate, I think they'll get it. Although they left. Smart. Goes for the M1.
Having 2 injured survivors here and chasing towards the ace does not get a dead hard off because they are running live. Is this gonna be a 1 out from Hookers? This might be a 4K.
Territory, I believe that was the bamboo you were talking about that was gets you every time.
Every time. This might actually be a 4K from the Bubba pulling it out. That was very close. He knows that he can't hit the Pocos through that window there.
Oh,
It
breakable.
looks like our ace
Maybe?
had the unbreakable.
I don't know. I think you take you take what you can get and just get this kill. Oh,
I don't
wouldn't
know
hook
if
him
she's
here
on
though.
death hook.
I meant like you just like I would take him further into the map, but like you take this hook and take what you can get. I think at this point.
Take the hook and then and then camp it out.
I think that. Then again, it's Bubba, so it doesn't really matter where you hook him.
I think that the Cheryl might be getting to the other door and maybe opening that one. Oh no, here she is. This might be a down. This looks like this could be a down. Oh, but it wasn't in time. That is 7 hook states for the Bubba.
Not bad performance for Leatherface for certain. 2Ks are right around, I feel, the standard for 2K 5 to 8 stage is right around what you want to get for a good Bubba game. Any more, and that's a bonus, I feel like.
Absolutely. That was a very interesting game. Very close game as well. As we take a look at our scoreboard, it is 16 points for Deathwish and 13 for Hookers.
Really, really close. Both sides showing some really good plays in that game. That could have easily gone to a 3 out or a 4K, like you said. That was really, really dicey for both sides there.
That could have gone either way, depending on what they decided to do in the split-second moments leading up to the last second they left.
Yeah, after thinking about it, I think I like that idea of choosing the Leatherface, because if you do get one of those hooks like he did right outside of main like that, You could literally just camp and not only camp, but camp with the ability to see where everybody is from the
See
high
where
ground like
everybody
that.
is, prevent them from getting to the other side of the map.
Yeah, I didn't even consider that as an option. That
Sanctum of
worked quite well
Wrath
for me.
almost being like a miniature version of Azerov's resting place.
I could see that to a degree. Although I feel like the loops in ARP, except for the jungle gyms, are a lot more shorter as far as the middle areas go, as far as like the in between main and middle and shack and middle. It's a lot of things that Twin vault over.
I think that if you can really control the middle part of this map, it's a big indicator of how your game is going to go. It's a little bit rough when you take a chase into the side of the map that no longer has the 3-gen, but if you do whatever you can to control that one of the 2 3-gens that you can get, or even a 4-gen if you have it, that could be game winning.
For sure, it'll be interesting to see what these survivors choose to bring out. As we see, the hookers now are killing. And was that Kate Cook inviting you? There's no way.
That was Kate Cook inviting me.
There's no way Kate Cook's killing. I will freak out of excitement. Oh no, it's not Kate Cook. Damn.
It does not look like it is
Faded.
Kate Cook playing killer. But it would be interesting if we saw somebody who is known for playing Survivor in the killer role. Maybe for the first time? Would that be her first time playing killer in a competitive setting?
The only time I know Kate Cook has played killer in any kind of tournament was a charity tournament. That's the only time I can confirm I've seen it happen personally. I don't know about outside of that. And we have, I believe their name is...
Cough It Up?
Cough It Up or Cue It Up? I'm not sure which way it is. It could be Cue It Up. Or Quo It Up. Either way, lovely to welcome you here into this community. I don't believe I've seen you somewhere before. So you must be new to the team or the community.
I believe so. And from Survivors, we see some popular names showing up in their roles. We have Ataru, Barson, FNK, and Exotic.
See some lovely outfits going here. We got the classic, look at that ace. I like that ace sweater. Looks like he's ready to hit some tables around the holidays. Cowboy Jake.
I'm hoping we see a James Sutherland in the game. Right now, we are going into the ping test.
Oh yeah, never mind. I was disappointed. I thought these survivors were really loading up in these outfits. I was getting excited.
I would love it if we saw a James Sutherland, because he almost is the correct outfit for the Wrecker's Yard kind of maps, for the Autohaven maps.
Yeah, it is interesting. Well, nothing can ever beat the old school Claudette P3. That was the most stealthiest thing in the game for the longest time.
Exactly, especially when you used to have the new moon bouquets to go along with it.
I still have nightmares of moon bouquets on Larry's Memorial with Claudette's hiding in those little bushes by the pallets.
The old Larry's Memorial.
You would never find them. You would never see them. You would have to have like crazy filters on to even know they were in there.
It would be really interesting if we could go back in time and have a competitive game in old Larry's with the new moon bouquet.
Keep
you know
the killer's
what?
ability to close the hatch, please.
To grab out of the hatch. That would be. I want to see a competitive hatch standoff.
No more, please. Those last hours, chat ain't got time for that. All right, so now we'll have the hookers killing here with somebody I don't really know much about, so I can't give you a lowdown on them. But like I said, this game is still easily winnable for either team. So I would not be shocked. In fact, I expect either an S tier killer here or a to B tier killer that their strongest killer main thinks is really good with them. Something that they want, like, I want to come out with a win versus a strong team in week 1 kind of thing. You know.
Exactly.
Now we know the most notable killer main that I know of as far as the community. They have 2 killer mains on hookers that. Oh, never mind. It doesn't really matter because they're not playing, so it's pointless.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see Cough It Up bring out the twins for this game because of how difficult of a map it is for other killers to control, and for just applying pressure in the right areas at the right times. Maybe they're going to play it like it's Azurov's resting place.
Could be.
So now that our ping test has come back, and it is awesome, it is working as intended, now we get to kind of get insight onto maybe these survivors are going to bring out a little bit more comp-looking survivors. You know, maybe survivors that blend in a little bit more than a bright red Meg sweater.
For sure. Although it'll be more entertaining if they keep these outfits.
I do think it would be pretty much one of the most fun things I've seen in a while if they pull out these bright cosmetics for this darker map that has a lot of trees and a lot of shade for just covering areas.
I used to have 2 outfits. I would when I was a survivor main, when I had to be back in the day when I was Forge Whites. There was 2 particular outfits I would joke about on the team that were a little conventional that I would always wear, and I told them they were for specific occasions. And one would be Jonathan Byers, because I think when you look at that man's face, he just looks like the face of somebody who's about to loop you for 5 gens. That's what I always would say. Like, this is the face of the man who's about to loop you for 5 gens. And then when I felt like the killer was like a really strong killer, I'd put on Jeff, and I with the face paint and like the rat jacket, and I would say that I need to handicap myself to help the killer out.
So, as the survivors are switching through, we saw for a very split second Exotic switch over to a Michaela with bright yellow outfits, possibly thinking the same thing that we're thinking, with these bright cosmetics, trying to intimidate the other team, saying...
Is this the JRM outfit we got going on here?
It's almost JRM. Almost JRM outfit.
They might hear us. Maybe they're trying to entertain us a little bit.
But we'll be loading up in just a minute. So, you're hookers, and you're down by 3 points. You're not out of the game. You have access to every killer as of this moment. You probably do bring an S or an A tier killer. As you were saying, it's a really good decision to bring on a map when you want to put yourself ahead after the second game. Going into the halftime, you want to be in a good spot. You don't want to be behind. You definitely don't want to be behind. But you wouldn't mind being ahead on points to set yourself up for possibly the win in Game 3, which we've seen, I think, 2 or 3 times now already in the first week. Teams are trying to be doing that.
Yeah, you want to just set yourself up in a position going into Game 4 that you have at least a little bit of a cushion lead, so that you know you could play the game a certain way. Because when a killer knows that they have to 4K before all the gens are done or something like that, it becomes really hard. Because they have to play particular for that win condition, and as survivors, you could play counter to that win condition very easily.
Exactly. And I think, however, even if there is a requirement for you to 4K in your killer game, you can't count it out. Because we saw earlier this week, Celestials play versus Purge, where Celestials were down by 13 points and ended up winning with a 7-point lead going into the very last match.
We've seen crazy things in the comp community. I don't know if we're supposed to talk about other leagues or all that, so I'll just say the team names. But me and you watched a certain game with a certain team that got penalized heavily
By 10 points and then coming back for the win.
And in a scoring system where 10 points is basically a lot of points,
Yeah.
they still came back and won by 10 points. So you can't rule out anything. So if mathematically it's not possible, it's still possible because the other team might do something wrong and bring in the wrong perk. You never know.
Never count your chickens before they hatch, as they say, as this is a 4-game long round. Every single round in every single week is 4 games. There's where they play Killer twice, and there's where they play Survivor twice. Anybody can win any single game and turn it around.
For sure. Glad to see lots of love in the chat for our teams here. We got lots of people rooting on the Hookers. I see Harley from the Deadheads. Several Hookers members rooting on their boys, their teammates. Glad to see y'all here. Welcome to the new community, new league that's being built up here. I think it's really going to be a good one, so look forward to the ride with all of y'all.
Absolutely. We always love seeing everybody in the chat supporting their teams. And it looks like everybody is ready to start.
No shot. You lying, Kate. You lying, Kate. Well, Kate, you got if that's true, Kate, you're gonna have like 2 people freaking out because you actually for like the one time in the history of Dead by Daylight casting have 2 casters that love that character, which has probably almost never happened.
And which character is it?
The one you've been talking about all day.
Oh, the twins? We're gonna get a twins game, possibly?
We might be.
Okay. I'm here. I'm now on the edge of my seat. I am going to try not to fall off as we load into game number 2. Hookers is playing Killer. Deathwish is on Survivor. Only a 3-point difference as we head into Sanctum of Wrath, game 2.
You better not be trolling me. You can't be playing with our emotions like this. The counterplay is so fun. I love twins. I love playing them. I love watching them. I even love playing the Survivor.
I think playing Survivor versus twins is my favorite thing in competitive Dead by Daylight. And we do load in here. What do we see? We got bamboozled by the chat.
You know, I'm a little bit worried by this pick. You know why? You know why I'm worried about this pick?
Why is that?
Zombies have a tendency to either be amazing, go to great loops, or just run into things. And if you're looking around this map, there's a big building in the middle with a lot of little things around that I could picture a zombie just getting stuck on one of those statues for like 5 minutes.
The zombies could get stuck on the statues for 5 minutes, or they could fall off the main building and then just lay on the ground there for 10 seconds before they start moving again. Which probably is the worst thing that happens when it happens multiple times in the same game, and I guarantee you it'll happen at some point the more we see Nemesis played in competitive.
Interesting to see how the difference in team play here as we have this Nemesis instantly going to check into the Corrupt and looking around for survivors.
Hearing a gen that's not in the Corrupt getting worked on.
Yeah, these survivors choosing not to stealth out Corrupt, it appears.
Not stealthing out Corrupt, but not getting found. Was that a bird that just lifted up?
Yeah, that was. Right by main. Oh, that's the little thing he's out of spot. Oh,
there's a zombie that looked like a survivor to me. I think I saw scratch marks too. Here's a survivor getting that gen to about 25%. Deciding not to take chase.
Survivors just making distance here. We see JRM over here.
We see Barson playing JRM. Take the first hit, but chase is not confirmed as our killer is going to go back and pressure people off of these gens.
Interesting knowing that that survivor was going to make distance. You weren't going to probably chase them into this area, that they didn't go for the
Tentacle
M2,
strike.
Yeah, they get the power going. Yeah, interesting. These survivors.
Went for another M1.
Yeah, really early game. I expect like more power spikes. So you can just make sure you get to at least tier 2. Because look how slow this pallet break is in comparison to with the tentacle.
Yeah, I think that our killer might be thinking that they can get it down here, and that's why they're not using the tentacle strike.
It could be, but you got some strong tiles over here and a few pallets.
That's another gen that's being worked on.
Can't break it. You don't have tier 2 yet.
And I don't know if anybody else is counting, but that was corrupt intervention that ran out. And now we've already seen our second perk here, deadlock blocking one of the gens on the other side of the map. For a split second, we were able to see it. These survivors coordinating incredibly well. Immediately dropping chase.
Literally just doing nothing. This is a risky run when we bring Nemesis.
Yeah, these zombies, there is one zombie on the other side, giving you a little bit of information.
The other one's camping in the Z-wall.
Get the pogos through the early vaults.
That man got a spring in his arm. Stretch Armstrong.
It looks more like Freddy Krueger from the movies with his elastic arms getting the hit like that. And that is the first hook for hookers.
Yep. Still 4 gens left, so this isn't a terrible time to get your first hook, but you gotta be wondering if there's multiple...
First unhook already happening.
Yeah, multiple gens probably close to being popped right now.
There's the Nia using Sprint Burst to come in and try and body block. Takes the Tentacle Strike.
Yeah, this Nemesis really needs to get it to tier 2, like, now.
That's alive on the Zarina. Not able to get away with it twice, though. Getting punished by Nemesis. As a gen finishes in the distance. Now we can see the one gen on the other side getting deadlocked again.
That one zombie is literally just staying in that corner.
That poor zombie.
He's a little shy.
This is the second survivor that we see in this area. This could be a hit with the Tentacle Strike onto Kate. Was that a failed skill check? It was not. Okay.
We'll see.
Using the tier 2 Tentacle Strike to break the pallet and try and tunnel out the Zarina. Uses the lingering hitbox.
Oh wow, look at these gens go though.
They have so many gens being progressed. And there's the down onto Zarina. I do believe that's the 4th gen getting complete. There's the decisive strike. Oh, it's balanced landing that she has. I didn't think that the other structures could activate your balanced landing.
Whoa, what a patience right here.
Tries and go for the Tentacle Strike and misses.
Body block attempt here.
This could be really good, especially if the Zarina does have the adrenaline. The Quadette does take the body block, and the adrenaline was in fact on the Zarina. Quadette is gonna take chase now. And we see the haste status effect in the right-hand side of our screen. Dead hard to the window and gets downed as they got caught on the window side.
Could be an opportunity to get some points out of this game still.
There's the moonwalk.
Take your hook on Nia here and you go for where else you can get. Maybe you can get that Claudette before she gets picked up.
We also saw, for a very split second during chase, No Way Out get activated. There was the cleanse on Noed. Their survivors now know every single perk that killer was running. That's a deliverance. Nemesis knows that this is not the Dead Hard. Looking around,
somebody over here.
There might be a flashlight save getting set up.
That zombie is still in that corner. He's
That's the
still
risk you
there.
run. That's the risk you run with Nemesis. It could be a lot of value or it could be no value from the zombies because they are so RNG based. That's a disconnect on our survivors. I'm not sure how that fares as far as points.
That's a full kill, I believe. By most league rules, I have to check what the rule is, but DC normally would count as a full kill.
That would reward the last points for the death and the second hook on, I believe that was Nia.
Fortunate, because you got to think that survivor was in the exit gate too. That's one of the reasons why when you're not going to go for the save, you need to get out, because you never know when you could have an internet issue.
Absolutely. We are going to wait and see what that is decided as.
Yeah, we'll wait for the official ruling, but I believe that's going to be a kill. That's probably going to be a kill.
That does look like it has been confirmed as a kill, as Hookers is now 6 points ahead. Sorry, more than 6 points. Hookers has 33, Deathwish 24. That is a 9-point difference. That is quite the turnaround. Going from a 3-point deficit to now a 9-point lead on one of the harder maps.
Yeah, I'm waiting in mod chat to confirm, but it's... Unless you heard for certain, I'm fairly certain that is a full kill. We'll have to see.
I do believe that would have been the points for the full kill on to the Nia, because she had been hooked once already, used Deliverance to unhook herself. It does, in fact, count as a kill. I'm getting confirmation.
That's what it is. It's unfortunate. It can happen to anybody. Lord knows I've had it happen on my team several times when I was on Fort Dwight's. We had a survivor that would DC literally once every 2 hours. Like, exactly. And it happened.
Is rough.
In game before. We had it happen in endgame once, and it's unfortunate, but it is what it is when it happens.
At least it doesn't happen after the first gen has been completed. Because that's probably the worst time, I feel, for somebody to DC, because then you still have to play out the rest of the game with only 3 survivors, as if the killer had gotten a whole kill for free at the very start. So.
Yep. But now we're looking at a different scenario. The scoring here, we now have the lead.
Sorry, it's not a 9-point lead anymore. It's actually an 8-point lead. No, sorry, not 8-point.
7?
7-point lead. Yes, thank you. Try and do the math in my head. Couldn't do it fast enough. But that's still pretty close.
Yeah, it's still fairly close, but now knowing that they have the lead now and it's not the worst case scenario, I would not be surprised to see, what do you call it? Hookers come out here with another strong killer to make this last game hard on them, the other team. You know, try to come out here with a strong 2 to 3K killer. Maybe
absolutely.
Twins, like we said, or Oni. You know, something that can do some damage. But we're actually done with this map now.
That's
which is
correct.
an interesting about this league that's different than most leagues. We go to both sides of home map, every week. We don't just go to whoever home team map. We go to both people's maps. And you want to remind chat where we're going?
We are going to Blood Lodge, the home map of the Hookers.
The Blood Lodge, as we said. So if you're a fan of the snipey snipes, you like your Huntress, you love your Tricksters, you love your Billies, well, stay tuned because we got 2 great games for you coming up.
So, the question is, what are we going to see from the killer's point of view? What would you bring?
Oh, I bring twins, you know me.
Oh, okay, yeah. You and I would probably
What
bring
would I-
twins.
What would I bring? Who are you asking? If I couldn't bring twins, and okay, my hero pool aside, just from an objective situation here, I think if I had it, the main for it, I'd bring Huntress. As much as, like we said, you want to save the Huntress, you are in week 1 versus a strong team, and you have a chance to win. If you have a good Huntress main, you play it right now and you take this win. That's what I feel. As much as you like, you can only use Huntress twice, and Huntress is really good at on this map. I feel like you're in a position now to win this, and you need to just take this and try to have a really good. Now, if you don't have a confident Trickster main, Twins, Billy, Trickster.
Deathslinger.
Chances are, if you don't have a good Huntress main, you don't have a good Deathslinger or a Trickster main.
That's fair.
Usually those mains are very comparable, and they usually play, if not all 3, at least 2 of those. If they play one, they play the other, kind of thing usually.
Absolutely. I know personally, I would love to bring Twins or Huntress on this map because of the size of it. Having that ability to split your pressure, specifically Twins and Huntress being probably the best killers that you can split pressure on multiple sides of the map, because Victor is almost like a little hatchet that you can use to get around the map that only hits once.
But I just, me, I just want to see Twins gameplay. I don't care the map. The only maps I really don't enjoy watching Twins or playing Twins on is literally Larry's and Haddonfield. And even then, I like launching Victor off of rooftops of Haddonfield. That's fun. But, like, other than that... But then again, who wants to play those maps in comp in general?
Yeah.
Or in general.
I think maybe if it's not Twins or it's not... Huntress, it might be Demogorgon. Demogorgon could get a really good start of the game if they get it down with their shred near the basement.
And who do we have killing in this one?
We have KF Chris, who I am also not familiar with.
No.
With them in comp, I have not seen them play Killer before, or Survivor, so this could be anything.
I've seen their name around in their Discord, but I never seen them play, so it'll be interesting to actually see some gameplay from this person. And we do see here no more JRM Beanie, possibly for this game. Maybe it was some bad luck. Maybe they're going to get rid of that for some bad juju.
They might, but I do believe we are going into a ping test here.
Forgot. Again. Who knows?
So. I think that the reason why we're seeing somebody that we might not have seen play Killer before in competitive is because this is probably somebody who mains a specific killer.
That could very well be, and that'd be why we haven't seen them for so long. But 2 other things to point out. I wanted to shout out Kate Cook for their comment saying, "Let's go Chicken Man." That's a very funny sentiment. I appreciate that.
I'm not sure I know who the Chicken Man is, but I do know
Oh,
Clown has a chicken cosmetic.
yeah, no, you had he has like a chicken picture, his Discord profile picture. I forgot that part to make it sense. So I guess that's like his mascot or something. But another thing to point out that our previous killer, that was actually their debut into comp. I just found out that
That
Nemesis Man, that was their first so not terrible at all for your first ever comp game.
that is wonderful to see.
Welcome to the community, Nemesis. This is a great comp is a wild ride. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of fun, but you know you're gonna make memories.
Yes. So it does seem so far like the ping test is going a-okay, and this would be good news for our killer, knowing that they are in fact able to play, as nobody currently has 250 or more ping, because nobody is gonna really be able to play on that. It does make the game very difficult to play when you are playing over 250 ping. It's almost like you're getting hit by a literal truck and thrown through pallets.
Yeah, somebody who's gone up against a Russian a Russian killer and Eastern European survivor, Eastern killers and all that. I've seen quite a amount of crazy stuff at high ping. It's it makes the game totally different. You have to think about the game totally different. You have to realize that what you're seeing on your screen is not what is the actuality in the game. That killer
Exactly.
is like 2 steps closer to you than you think he is, and then normally things are gonna hit you that appears to you shouldn't hit, and you have to stay level headed. If you don't stay level headed, it's gonna result in your play. That's a big thing with going up against different region teams. Is you have to stay level headed
Right.
and focused.
I've played against some Russian teams that every time I play against them, I have to remind myself exactly what I'm in for. And the second you load into those games, you feel the ping, and you know it's gonna be just as bad for the other side.
That's why I always find it difficult with the teams with mixed regions, because they all often will have like the option to send out separate region killers, and they can really use that to their advantage. But you don't see a whole lot of multiple region teams in DBD. A few here and there, but not that many.
Yeah, usually you see NA mixed with EU, EU mixed with Russia, but you don't usually see people from Russia mixed with US, or you don't see Australian teams mixing NA and, you know, EU or Australian players together.
But you never know. When I was through my trial process, I couldn't pronounce their team name to you, but there was a Russian team I trialed for. I couldn't tell you how to pronounce their name, though. I don't even know what... Most of the letters didn't even look normal to me.
Yes, I do, in fact, think that it might be... It might be something that a lot of people don't have experience with, but hopefully over time, there will be an influx of people who are trying to play versus different regions, which, again, is going to be very difficult because of the very different time zones. I've been told, I'm not entirely certain of this, but I've been told parts of Russia are 12 hours ahead of Eastern Time, NA Eastern Time.
Yep.
Which does make training with a Russian team and NA survivors very difficult. I've been personally asked to play with a Russian team a few times, and it's very hard to figure out a time when everybody is awake.
Yeah, usually the only way that happens is if one of the teams is available in that like 10 to 12 zone, like 10 in the morning to 12 in the afternoon. If one of the teams can get their team together for that zone, then NA to Russia can happen decently. But you need, like, one of the teams has to be able to concede and say, okay, we're going to play a morning to early afternoon game. And the other one it has to be cool with playing a game almost at midnight.
Yeah. And it might actually just be easier to get the one person, the killer, to play at midnight and get all of the other players to play at their normal time. So, I'm not sure about any of the teams, excuse me, that we have in Entities Arena, that, what time zones they are in. But we are currently waiting on confirmation for something that's happening in the lobby right now to make sure everything is smooth.
Funny enough, I'm finding out that both the Hookers Killers tonight are making their debut in comp. This is Chris's first comp game as well.
Oh, so this will be exciting.
Be really interesting to see what they come out with for their first game in comp. We saw the Nemesis choosing to come out with the Nemesis main choosing to come out with the Nemesis, which is a very interesting pick for your first play. Interesting to see what Chris comes out with. And another thing to note with the different regions, we do have the Dead by World Cup switching soon, and that'll be interesting to see how that runs with all the different people from around the world playing in one place.
Yes, I do think that will be very interesting to watch. I'm curious if they're going to do anything about the ping. If, for example, the last two teams are up in Canada somewhere and over in Australia or New Zealand, that would be a very difficult match to schedule. Who do you schedule it around? Do you schedule it around EU because you meet it halfway in between?
Unfortunately, as much as I love my fellow American Andes, I got a feeling like, based on the rosters I've seen, that aside from one roster, I don't think North America's taken it. There was one roster that I think could, but the rest of them, I don't know.
So we are redoing the ping test just to confirm before we move on to the game.
You see some decent ping this time.
It does look pretty good. I think all of our players are relatively close to the same region.
Anytime you can get under, even close to 100 between North America and EU, that's good. Like,
yeah.
You can't ask for much better than like 100 ping in that. That's very reasonable.
Now, we've seen killers picked out for the ping test, but do we think that they're going to bring a different killer for the actual game? Because we're still only going into game 3 here.
I think you have to, because you don't want to reveal what you're doing. But you never know.
Exactly. I think that that's a good idea. Generally speaking, teams will try and hide all of the information as much as they can, as long as they can, from the other team, just to confirm everything is going smoothly on their end. Prevent any unnecessary information from getting out.
Yeah, that reminds me of a time we played in Dead by DBE, and we had one of our players' financial stability killing, and the other team randomly just said, "So you're playing Oni, right?" And Stability forgot that we're not, like, they don't know we're playing Oni. They just randomly said it. It wasn't one of those games where both teams play the same killer. It was we pick.
Oh.
And yeah, and he's like, yeah, of course, yeah, that's what it is. And he was like, oh shoot, they just debated me into saying I was playing Oni. But then he was like, well, did they really know I'm playing Oni, or did they think I was joking back at them? I'm like, well, when I told them that, and I was like, oh, the mind games are off the chart at this point.
It's the double mind game where you actually tell them exactly what you're running.
Just read out the build and everything.
Going into one of the games that one of my teams played in recently, I think maybe only 2 weeks ago now, we actually told the other team exactly what we were playing right before we played it. And they put up a very, very good fight. In fact, they won. That's how good of a fight they put up. So,
yeah.
maybe sharing the information of what killer you're playing when it is not revealed is not the best thing to do.
You never know, though. You know, mind games. That's like the strategy I've seen some survivors, and even in comp teams, do of wearing bright outfits sometimes. If you have if you're confident you have a really good looper and you don't think the other killer is great at particular loops, the particular main, you might send out your best looper in a really shiny outfit just to make sure that they get spotted and try to draw attention to themselves. I've seen teams employ that strategy before.
Yeah, and especially giving them like the flashlight, make them as annoying and chaseable as possible, because you know that they're your best runner too.
Get that Claudette with the purple pants and the green shirt and the... What's that hat called? The little winter hat?
Oh, the one that... Yes, I know which one you're talking about.
That's my favorite outfit to wear. One of my favorite outfits in this game is the purple pants with the green shirt and that hat. That combo, rocking into pubs. That's my pub outfit usually.
I believe the last time I saw a team running the bright Claudette outfits was, I want to say it was Outer Heaven or Trauma. I think it was Trauma playing in one of the Wispy tournaments where Zaka was playing with the brightest pink and purple cosmetics on Claudette. So we're just loading in here, and what do we see? This looks like the Blights.
He's gonna come out with the light
already
here. Very, very interesting choice.
Already seeing the massive speed that the Blight can get, finding a survivor already, and we do know that there is a corrupt intervention. Unsurprisingly, tries to go for the Pokos through the window and misses it. Drops chase.
Drop chase here on this Adam here. It's a nice stun here. The important thing this plate needs to remember is you gotta make sure you're getting at least a 1 or 2K in this game. You want to keep this lead. If you can build on it 4K, that's great, but you've got to come up with something in this game.
Ever so slightly misses the flick on to Shrimp here on the Meg, and our killer is splitting pressure very quickly between every survivor that they can see.
Eating that pallet, munching on that wood.
It does seem like that's another gen that's almost finished getting worked on. We're only barely a minute into the game.
Yeah, but these gens are already flowing. This Blight's being a little indecisive on a target, and they need to get somebody on a hook ASAP.
That's the Bloodlust coming in. Not usually something we see. Oh, and there's the pallet stun mid-rush. That's got to be rough on the Blight.
Ooh, a good dodge by their Nia right there. Gen really busting out here with another gen that's deadlocked too. Take the deadlock? No, that's not deadlock. That's supposed to corrupt up.
Yep, that's corrupt intervention still on the gens. And the Meg takes the first hit going through the LT. There's the down. 2 gens pop. So I think that that can confirm that we do not see any blocked gens. That is no deadlock. There's the 3rd gen getting complete. There's only 2 gens left.
Yeah, this is looking a little dire here for Blight, but there's still ways to go in this game. He either needs a P2 without... he needs to either get a P2 before both these gens pop, or he needs to get another hook down, one of the two. You really want to make sure you get a 2K in this game at least. At a minimum, I'd say.
I do think that at a minimum, yes, you do want to get 2 kills to confirm that that the other team has not taken more points than you. Misses the flick because of the little spin that the Meg is doing here. That's quite crazy. Decides not to tunnel now.
It's because he's JRM, that's why.
That gen is almost complete.
Ooh, that was a close rush there. If he swung a little bit later, he might have had that.
Oh, does not get the hit through the window. survivors are playing incredibly safe. Very similar to last game. Probably thinking to themselves, hey, we made some mistakes at the end game last time. Let's not do that again.
This Blight needs it down. You gotta know there's at least one gen about to pop right now, probably two. As these survivors are strong, they're definitely split up on gens right now, I guarantee.
That's a nice flick on to the Atom here. That gen just got finished, and that looks like a JRM on the gen. Gets hit.
Gets the hit on the top of the hill. That's very lucky.
Between the totem and the rock.
Yeah, it's very lucky because you can't get hit off the survivors as they drop off that hill there.
This looks like Meg coming in for the body block. Gonna take the hit, allowing the Claudette to get more distance.
Maybe adrenaline about to pop.
There's the haste status effects.
Oh, you never know what gamer, and it is revealed, chat. No, it is revealed, and no way out. But only with one stack.
No way out and no way.
Yeah, he's gonna need to get a hook here and find another survivor quick, because this is not enough.
It does look like the Noed is right next to this gate where the Claudette got hooked.
Thing to note is the Blight Rushes don't count for Noed. They will not work together.
Yes, because it is a special attack, it does not apply the exposed status effect when you are hitting and injuring the survivor.
There's no way that No Way Out, Noed would not be banned for every Blight game in every league everywhere.
This Nia here might actually take the down. And will get down here. Right next to main building.
You plug here. I think you need more than just this kill. Oh no, no. Oh my god.
That was almost a flashlight save.
Oh, but that Noed cleanse, dude. If you could find that Claudette, maybe get another down and proxy this hook. You get some value off of it, maybe. Force these survivors to awkward position.
I think our survivors are probably opening both exit gates right now, just for every single possible option. There was the Claudette, I don't know if you saw, over by the gate. There's the Deliverance play with a sprint burst. This door's not open yet. Yeah, it sounded like it was 90%. There's the open.
Really patient by this play, but they might not. Yeah, this is gonna be bad. This might be a 4-man out.
This does look like it will be a 4-man out.
Oh no.
This is an incredible performance versus Blight. With only 3 hook stages, 4 people get out of the game, out of Blood Lodge, alive.
It's unfortunate. The thing is, in this league, and I hate to say it, is you only get 1 use out of Nurse Spirit and Blight all season. I feel like when you're bringing those out, you have to be ready to be like, okay, I'm gonna get a 3 to 4K. I don't think it was the play, unfortunately. I don't think they were ready for it. Maybe a little more time to practice and it would have been stronger. But I don't think this is unfortunately looking bad.
Unlucky for the hookers, but I don't think that anybody is counted out just yet, because now Deathwish is only up by 10 points.
That is true, but 10 points is sizable. The survivors are going to need a strong performance. It's not impossible. I wouldn't even say it's a blowout right now, because of how the other performances kind of helped hookers, but it's hard for them. And that was why I said they need to make sure they get at least a 2K, 6 to 7 stages minimum. Because if they did that, the score would be right around what it was, with them up by about 10 points. Maybe a little less, but with a lead. And now they're down by a decent margin. This is going to be way harder for them now.
It still is only 1/3 of the maximum number of points that the killer can get. And because we have to assume these survivors from... the killer from Deathwish is probably going to try and secure at least 10 points. That means Hookers needs to get around 20 points to tie. If we are assuming that Deathwish will get an additional 10 points during their game.
Yeah, so it's going to be difficult. I would not be surprised to see like like we were saying before, an A to B tier killer, because I don't think you want to use your S tier here. I don't think you have a 10-point lead, so I don't feel like you don't need to an S tier to necessarily seal this.
They might bring
But
out Huntress, knowing that this is one of the better maps for her on this roster of maps.
And Huntress is a killer that is fairly good at guaranteeing stages. It is hard to save versus a Huntress, even with multiple people. If she hits her hatch just as you approach the hook.
But just because you can confirm stages, that might not be enough, especially when you're behind on points. You might want to pick a more risky option. Oh, sorry. No, I had that backwards.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Deathwish is playing killer now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because they're probably going to camp progressions, I imagine, fairly rough. Because they just need to make sure they get a decent amount of points in a kill or two, and they should win. So I'm fairly certain whatever killer they bring is going to be a killer that can protect hooks fairly well, much like the Leatherface could. Like whether it be a Huntress that can protect it from all ranges and with multiple attacks, or a Twins maybe, like we were talking before. That's an option as well. Could see a Pinhead's not out of the question. Although I
think Pinhead is starting to become a very popular choice.
Oh yeah, for
sure. Because I think I've seen 4 games of Pinhead in the past weekend. Just this past week, I think I've seen 4 competitive Pinhead games.
I think a big reason for that is the evolution of people learning how the box spawns properly. Because when you learn how the box spawns as a Cenobite, it makes your gameplay so much stronger. Because you actually will often bring ruin, I feel, in Cenobite games, if you know how the box spawns. Because you could spawn in, you don't have to go to your totem, you go to the box, you block it, you know where they all are, they all in chain hunt. Don't have time to go looking for a ruin. They have to focus on the box, and they're not getting very much gen progress in the beginning of the game because of the ruin and the chain hunt going all at the same time. And it's a lot of early game pressure that you can snowball with.
Absolutely, especially if you have a Pinhead game similar to the one that we saw in the Purge vs Celestials game. I think that could be the second most exciting thing. One of the, the top 2 most exciting things that have happened all week in competitive Dead by Daylight.
I still think the most exciting thing in competitive Dead by Daylight this week was that KVLT game.
Okay, true. That was also incredibly exciting. But seeing a massive turnaround in points because of a Pinhead game, I think could also be quite something.
Big thing I want to see from the hookers here is last night I watched the hookers play in another league, and they got into a situation where they ended up losing only by a couple points, and they're playing up against a trickster that hooked them in endgame with Noed, with the hook right next to the Noed. But if they left with the 2 people that were there, which they ended up doing, they lose. They had to go for the saved, and they didn't go for it. So what I would like to see here is the survivor for an attempt to know what the win condition is here, to try to keep a rough track of what you're going to need to do. Oh, what's this ping test? Never mind.
Yeah, this is a ping test. Don't worry about it.
I had a heart attack. I'm like, oh god, we're going to RPG. No! I got a little worried there for a second. Flashbacks. We got
competitive RPD.
Yep. I really want to make sure that I really want to see the hookers here understand what they need to do to win and to go for it. Because that's the big thing, is you need to, like, even if you fail going for the win condition, you have to go for the win condition. There's no reason not to go for the win condition, you know?
Absolutely.
It feels horrible as someone who had it happen to me on both ends of our survivors, and also myself as killer, not realizing it. You have to know what you need to get to win. and you have to be able to keep track of that number in some way, shape, or form.
Exactly. And I think that especially when you have a larger roster who is there to sit in on the games, even if they're not playing, I think having somebody in the background telling you what you need to do points wise to get the win, to secure that victory, I think is a very good idea.
Terrible, just to shout out and be like, hey, you do need to get that save, or hey, you win if you leave.
Exactly. Which is why I always think it's nice to have 1 or 2 extra people in your voice chat just in case, even if they stay muted the entire time. You know, maybe you're playing killer, you need somebody to count out decisive for you, or you need them to count out a deadlock for you as survivor. You know, they can just be there, tell you a little quick update on the points as you're going through. Say, hey, I know you guys are in the middle of something, but they keep it to 1 or 2 words. They just say, you need the unhook.
Because the only thing worse than trying to win the game and then losing is to realize that you could have had a chance at winning, but you didn't try. That's my personal feeling, at least.
I agree.
That being said, if you also get in a situation where you have to take a draw or go for a risk, that is a lot more up in the air decision. That you could really, it has a lot of variables and debate to it. You have to think, okay, what map are we going to go to in the tiebreaker? How strong do we think our killers will do versus their killers? What's morale on the team? Can we handle another set of games? Will we do well, or will it be the opposite? We want to try to finish it now because for some reason we don't think we'll do as good in another tiebreaker. There's a lot going into it, that kind of a decision.
Absolutely. And I think because Hookers does have Kate sitting there in the voice chat with them, as always, playing her role as the team captain, I think that she's going to tell them when they need to get that unhook, or when they need to just take the 3 out, take the 2 out, you know, confirm exactly with the rest of the team, make sure that they know exactly what they need to do at each situation. She's a very smart person, and I think that's what's going to bring them to victory. That can bring them to victory. 10 points down, but they can come back.
I haven't done the math exactly, but this is just in my head based on 10 points and how it is in this league. I think you need a 3 out, unless I'm incorrect, probably to win this. With not a ton of hooks. 3 out with not a ton of hooks, or because I think if you fully progress 2 people, I think Deathwish wins.
That's only 14 points. And then I think you can still get 16 points as Survivor if you get 2 fresh out. Because it is 3 points for every fresh escape. And it is 10 points for all of the gens getting complete.
Awesome. That would be enough then.
So that would still actually be a victory. But I'm not sure. I do think it would be a tie then if they had 2 full progressions, 1 hook on somebody else, 2 escape, 10 points from the 5 gens being complete.
Well,
that would be a tie, wouldn't it?
It might be. It's hard to say. These numbers, you easily overlook something. Only one way to find out the result. We'll go into the game and find out. We'll see what killer they're bringing in as well. But one thing's for certain: Hookers need to know that this killer team is gonna try to proxy the first hook they get, and that they need to make the decision early and quickly if they're gonna go for a multi-save attempt or if they're going to commit to the gens. Because an indecisive decision there will result in a failure either way. They need a hard commit to an option and to align and hope that that line leads them to victory. So I can almost guarantee that the first hook's going to get P2 proxied pretty hard.
Absolutely. I would actually be surprised if they do in fact get it down into 3 gen that's not corrupt. I think that they'll probably just camp it out to Death Hook.
They very well might.
Because that confirms 7 points. And we do load into the game here, but what do we see? We see the Plague being brought out. We already see Corrupt Intervention.
Corrupt Intervention. Plague, a very interesting choice on this map. A killer that also can hit over a lot of the loops on this map that we didn't think about, but also has a similar advantage that like Trickster does in that regard. Except maybe even a lot more reliably because you can just literally throw it over.
Absolutely. We're not finding any survivors just yet.
Yeah, I'm wondering after the last game if this plague knows
exactly.
Yep. This plague knew exactly that these hookers were going to wait out Corrupt and start looking in the corners in the map.
There's the full
right
infection. Survivors now seeing a second perk getting revealed with Thanatophobia.
Oh no, that's going to send these survivors for a loop. It's going to have to be a tough decision whether they should cleanse or not. Interesting, this Claudette
infection.
Oh no.
A very fast down for Deathwish here.
Very curious why the Claudette was taking that vomit, trying to body block the vomit when the other character was already broken. I would have tried to splinter off a little bit to try to shake some of that off. Unfortunate.
There's drinking the Corrupt Purge.
This plague's looking to end this game right here, right now. They see blood in the water.
Those are scratch marks. Although faint, they are there. Is this the ace? This does look like an injured survivor. So we do see a blood trail. Almost getting the Corrupt Purge, predicting on the ace to where he's going. Oh, that was very close. Almost getting hit.
The Orange with the crazy jukes. With the crazy jukes! Wasting so much time. This plague needs to get out of here. I think they need to break this pallet or they need to leave now. One of the two.
That was a very close swing.
The Orange with the carry! Look how much time he's wasting right now.
Almost the full power usage.
Oh my lord. This is exactly what you needed for this hookers.
And survivors are seeing the third perk get revealed here. Deadlock is on the middle gen. Interesting choice, knowing that you have to get a 2 or 3k with a whole lot of hook states.
Yeah, this was looking really, really scary in the beginning, but maybe with that mojo brought back, the Orange might motivate his team to some big plays here. Let's see.
That is only the second hook, so nobody has been decided as the victor.
Splitting the hooks is interesting because it could pay off. It could be risky. You really want to make sure you have somebody on death hook before the end game.
They might even decide to just leave him on the hook there and pump out 3 gens. All in the meantime, we do see the last survivor taking the infection.
The only thing, though, is to be careful of because it's not going to be that easy to do. These survivors need a plan. They know there's deadlock, so they're going to have to know that they're going to have to rotate on these gens. They're going to have to call, okay, my gen's about to pop. Who's got the highest gen? Okay, and that person needs to know that they need to start running to another gen. Or just sit there for 30 seconds, which is probably the worst decision.
Or they might coordinate it, where they pop both the gens at the same time, preventing the deadlock from getting on either of them.
It might be tough to do. If this is an EU killer, will it be easier? Will it be easier or harder to do that on?
It is not actually affected by the killer's ping.
Okay, I wasn't sure how it was affected by, because I know it seemed like they nerfed that because it seemed like it was a lot easier to do when Cenobite came out.
I'm not sure. But with the Discord latency, it does make it a little bit difficult if you have 2 people who aren't in the same room coordinating that. This could be the death hook.
Oh, the whiff!
Very narrowly missing.
Oh, but you're chasing B-Orange again, and he already juiced you once. You gotta be careful here. He could waste a lot of time with this pallet. Smart drop here just to waste as much time. Crush knows the win condition. Oh, we see a light! Oh, but he doesn't really make distance out of it. Oh, no, I think that might have been a bad decision. I think they needed to make distance with that.
Yes, as this is the death hook for the ace, because he progressed into the second hook state. Only 2 gens remaining now. This is either very good for Deathwish or very bad because we don't know what these other gens are at.
Close. Yeah, this is the time to pick her up. Oh no, survivor
There's a
found
survivor
right here. Oh no.
That's a very clever way of playing that from the plague. As you know that the survivor is going to try and get the stun, pushing you out of your power.
No pop though, that is a dry kick. Still could go either way.
Our plague deciding not to pick up and start chase with this Claudette. No, sorry, the Cheryl.
Is that a juke or a hit her?
This is the Claudette, sorry. I think it was just a juke, but it was a very clever one.
These survivors are good at juking the juke. What is?
And
wow.
that's a pickup on the Michaela.
Look at these survivors.
The thing that I think is always the hardest about Plague is being able to maneuver around all of these objects with the fountains there. But that's a down, and we have one gen left. This could be the comeback from hookers that Deathwish knew that they had to look out for.
You gotta think that people are in the chat now, and you probably got Kate Cook and Wolf right now crunching numbers right now.
That is the second hook on to Claudette. And now they're starting to cleanse. We know what generator was just deadlocked. So that's the next most progressed gen. That's the unhook on the Claudette, which we do know was Cheryl because the Michaela was healthy and did not become infected.
Real risky choice to choose to cleanse right here in the middle of Shack where this plague has a real easy access to.
Except she does not have a 3-gen.
That is the caveat to this though, but with the amount of hooks there, if you could get a 2K, I think with the amount of hooks they have, I think it might be enough to at least tie, if not win.
I think they only need one kill on a fresh survivor to secure the win.
Yeah, so I don't hate the power usage here. Oh, Cheese! I don't think she's been hooked.
No, the only two people that have been hooked have been Orange and Assassin.
That's the survivor you need right here. This could be huge. You gotta hope for an adrenaline, maybe.
Really good from the killer's point of view. What an insane use of the power! Getting that around the rock. I think she can just camp this out with the power, preventing any unhooks from happening.
She even has 2 pools right nearby to refuel at too.
There's the no way out proc.
3 stacks too. You got that stack just in time. 3
stacks and no way out. That's a very long time. I believe that's 48 seconds.
You don't see a haste status effect on the side of the screen, so no way. But these survivors don't know that unless they did all the totems.
They should know that it is no-ed after they procced the no way out because they had seen all 3 other perks leading up to this.
Correct.
But they still do not actually know what the add-ons are. They could probably guess though.
I think you wait out, you let him P2 here. You either catch the plague out when she goes to get her power again, because I think the survivor won't die until after this power is up. If I'm not correct, right? This power is going to run out before the survivor dies on hook.
I'm pretty sure that the power will run out before the survivor dies. The question is, are the survivors sitting around close enough to get the unhook when she goes to drink from the pool right next to it?
She might not be able to leave. She might have to stand here and hope for a trade or grab, because I don't know if she can leave. Survivor shooting open the gate. Let's see if they go for it. I think they have to go for it. I think, or they lose, right?
I'm not sure.
Let's see.
This is so close. There's the other survivors coming in.
It's gonna be close. This is gonna be crazy, chat. Oh, there's the hit! Here's the save!
I don't know if that was the right move, using the swing instead of
and the body block
infecting.
What is it? No! Oh, why are you running back? Oh no! Pallet.
There was dead hard.
For distance?
Unfortunately, does not get far enough. This is the first hit on the Michaela. I think that this
or something?
I think this confirms the fates of our survivors here. I think that she lost distance, though. I think that our killer lost distance on the survivors by choosing to M1 instead of just immediately infect the survivors as they were stuck in that little corner next to the hook.
I don't know why, but the Michaela backtracked at the bus towards the killer, it looked like for a second there. I think maybe hoping for a body block, but if they just held W, I think they might have made it. I think rather than doing that, if there was window and bus, they should have just went for the window.
They did have the fun bus window.
Yeah, I don't know why they didn't drop the pallet and then go for the window. Oh, wait, Deli!
There's the deliverance. But gets downed in shack. And I don't think that she can crawl to the... Oh, she might be able to crawl to the exit gate in time.
Gonna be close.
We are going to be able to tell because of the deliverance timer.
Oh, wow.
And our Plague's just going to push the other two survivors out.
I don't think it's Deli you have to worry about. It's the end game timer. I actually would have liked to see one of these survivors not... Because now the timer's going to go faster.
They still have 2 minutes left on the end game timer.
There's still 2 minutes?
Yeah.
Really?
The gong rings at 1 minute, but because there's a survivor who is currently slugged or on a hook, it doubles in time. Yeah. I don't know if it's gonna be. I don't know if it's gonna be a decisive.
Oh, it might not even be decisive. You're right.
This is going to be so close.
Oh
and
no!
The timer running out. Our killer knows that they can pick up any second now. So incredibly close.
Oh no! Wait, did they make that hook? Oh my god! I think they make it. It's gonna be close though. I think they make it.
If they don't make the hook, I don't know if she has enough time to leave.
He's not wiggling. Is he not wiggling?
He is wiggling, but I don't know if he has time to leave. He makes the hook, but just barely.
Oh, wow.
With only about 10 seconds left on the normal timer, 20 seconds left on the doubles timer because of the down.
So close. Man.
What an incredibly close game. But it does end up with Deathwish taking the victory here. That looks like it is a 20-point lead.
Wow. Well, maybe it wasn't that close as we thought in the end game then.
I think that's because the last survivor to get hooked was a fresh hooked survivor.
Yeah, you're right. That made a big difference in points. It was a lot closer.
That would have been 7 less points for Deathwish and 3 additional points for hookers. So that would have been 10 points just on the one survivor.
Unfortunate. I think this is one game that the hookers are definitely going to be doing a lot of VOD reviews on, because this game was like 1 or 2 mistakes away from being a hookers win. But as much as it's unfortunate to lose a really close fought game, at least it was a really close fought game. You showed up. The hookers are a relatively new team to the scene. They've only been around for a few months, but they have gotten crazily better. Especially their survivor team. It's gotten crazy. I've seen them when they first started and to what they are now, and they have made significant improvements. And I think they're going to keep it up at the rate they're playing.
Yes, and it does sound like we are going to have a survivor or a killer in here from Deathwish for an interview in just a moment.
Ooh,
I am excited to hear exactly what happened in that disconnect game. Hello there, Barson. Can you please introduce yourself?
Hello, my name is Barson. What's going on?
Hello.
How you guys doing?
good. Very excited after watching that crazy finish of a game.
Yeah, it was a little bit hectic, I'm not gonna lie. FNK had us a little scared there, but, you know, it came through.
Yeah, for certain. That ace was burning so much time at that one loop. It was that one chase saved that game for the hookers because it started off so strong for your plague, and
Yeah.
then they brought that energy right back, and it was so close in the end. Oh
Yeah.
my lord, that was so close.
Yeah, he was getting a little cocky, and we were just trying to tell him, hey, bro, you can zone the survivor, but, you know, it worked out, you know.
Well, you can't underrate a team like the Hookers. I know they're newer to comp as far as a group together, but they've gotten leaps and bounds better from where they came from. They are getting much better, as you've seen in this game.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've played with a few of them, so I definitely know their skill level, and they're decent, and I would definitely give them the respect of that, so it was
Now,
fun, for sure.
in your earlier games, in your Survivor games, what were the comms like when the disconnect was happening? Was that an accidental disconnect? Was that an internet outage?
To be honest, I think it was his game. Like we were resetting because we were confident in getting a 4 out in that situation. We just had a 3-man save. And honestly, like I got stuck in an infinite animation and I couldn't even move. And then finally he just disconnected from the match, and at that point we were just like, we just need to leave. We need to save whatever we can so we don't jeopardize like even more points than we've already given. So, yeah, it was definitely not on purpose. We don't know what happened, honestly, and it sucks that he couldn't get a recording or a screenshot of it, but, you know, it happens, and we moved on.
That's very unlucky, but you guys were able to come back from that despite the rough handlings of the disconnect, having a little bit of a mixed first game, you know, not putting up any bad points, but not getting a super far lead, still doing super well in your second Survivor game versus the Blight, only getting out with 3 hook states total, 0 deaths. Talk to us about what was... It must have been absolutely hectic in the voice chat at that point when you were preparing for that unhook at the end there, and then it's a deliverance play from the Nia. Talk to us a little bit about what was going on.
Were you talking about when we were surviving against
Yes,
the
when you were
Blight?
surviving in the Blight game.
Yeah, so we knew he had deliverance, so we knew that in the situation we wanted him to get in, like we wanted the pressure to be put on him so that we could unhook, get the gate open and all of that. And then the hook happened, the deliverance happened. One of our team captain actually took the chase, and I don't know what happened, to be honest. I was opening the gate, but he was just going crazy, like doing some mad loops, and it worked out in the end. So that was amazing, honestly.
That's really quite amazing. And you had already started to inform us about how it was going in the killer game for the Plague. How about the killer game for the Bubba, where, you know, he might have had a little bit of a rough start, but then he got a really good hook in the middle of the map.
Yeah, so I mean, it's Bubba, so the games tend to start a little slower. You burn pallets and you try to create a dead zone, so the start's always going to be pretty slow, so I kind of expected that. He pulled it together. One little misplay in the end game, but, you know, you got to do what you can do, and in the moment, sometimes you can't make the right decisions, or you can't make the best decision, I could say. And you know, we're happy with the outcome of that match regardless. Bubba's a very even killer, and that's a very even score line.
Absolutely.
For sure. And there's I wanted to know if you guys talked about it all. The first game, the Hookers came out, and they attempted to fully stealth out the Corrupt. Now, did your killers at all consider or talk about maybe the fact of how to handle that? Because in the second game, we noticed the Plague almost instantly start checking corners of the map away from the uncorrupted gens.
Yeah, yeah. You know what? That's funny because, like I said, I knew a couple of the players, so I kind of had an idea that they would do that, but I didn't want to mislead my killer in the first match. And I guess that could be my fault. I should have told them, like, hey, they might stealth this. But second match, I was for sure confident, like, hey, they're gonna stealth this, especially against a Plague. Like, if they puke on a gen, it gives your location away. So it's even more of a reason to stealth. So I was like, hey, go find them, like seek them out, and that's exactly what he did.
Well, really well played from everybody on Deathwish. Do you have anything that you would like to say to the other team?
GG's. Thank you guys for a good game. That was fun. It was close, and I hope you guys also had a good time.
That is wonderful to hear. Is there any closing statements that you want to make?
No, I just want to thank you guys. I know the whole disconnect situation was a little bit of a pain, but we got through it, and I appreciate everyone for talking it through and working it out smoothly.
Thing I want to point out: did your survivors realize that the entire game of that Nemesis game, that one of those zombies was in the corner of the map for literally the entire game?
So, that's funny because I don't think we ever saw him, to be honest.
Yeah, he was in the corner by where the wall that you can vault the little wall where that gen is.
Oh, yeah, I
The
think I
pallet
know what you're talking
the
about,
pallet
yeah.
between the walls. He was on the Z. He was camping the Z wall literally the entire game.
That's, I'm so sorry for whoever that nemesis was, but I hope you get better luck next time, man.
That is unfortunate. Well, we're gonna say thank you from everybody at Entities Arena for stopping on in. Thank you everybody for stopping in to watch, and we hope that everybody sticks around. Tomorrow, I believe, is our next game. Saturday. No, today is Saturday. Sorry, Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern. How did we get here versus Deadheads? That will be interesting, closing out week 1 of season 1 Entities Arena on the maps Gas Heaven, and I believe that is Groaning Storehouse.
It was a great job casting with you. I had a lot of fun. I'm sad that we got you baited and there was no actual Twins games, but there's always next week.
Yes, whenever we're on here, we've got to root for Twins, as every map has to be a good Twins map.
It'll happen eventually.
Absolutely. Have a wonderful night, everybody, and thank you for tuning in to Entities Arena.